I used to tell Dr. King, he used to ask me why I worked so hard with him on this question of voting rights. I said, it's not only simply because we in the District of Columbia have been brutally denied that, and I'll tell you that story in a minute ago now, but it's also because I've learned, since I didn't learn about chickens and ducks and what they do and how to make cars, I learned what goes on here in Washington. And I concluded that politics is the process of determining who gets how much of those things. And after 20 years in the Congress, I'm clear. Every time elected officials sit down to make a decision, they're deciding who's going to get the money in tax relief, who's going to get the quality education for their children, who's going to get health care, who's going to get affordable housing, and who's going to get justice. And there's something wrong in the system. That's why I continue to work, where half of the people in jail are from 10% of the population. Something's wrong with the system because it's not being fairly distributed. And so that led to me to my conclusion early on that that's why they lynched ministers and beat people. And that's why they killed Medgar Evers and beat Cheney, Schwerin, and Goodman to death and gunned down Bala Luitzu on that Highway 80, on that march that I had organized from Selma to Montgomery. They didn't want us to participate in the process of determining who gets how much of what, when, and where. And they knew, for example, that if we ever voted in the South, you might get a black mayor of Atlanta who might have an opportunity to build an airport. Do you know that there are more black people doing business at the Atlanta airport than anywhere in the world? That's because the persons in charge of who got how much of what, when, and where were people who were prepared to judge people not on the basis of the color of skin, but the content of their ability to build runways and to run businesses. Mm-hmm. So that's why we tend not to get, because one, people will talk east and walk west on their religion. I love the Lord. And the Lord has anointed me to declare good news to the poor, but not to that poor. Because they are of a different, they are what you call an inferiority reference group. And that's where racism steps in.